TCL shell that is built into Cisco devices and how to use it, for network engineering solutions, to speed up deployments and to help with troubleshooting, etc. What is TCL? Right, well, TCL is a scripting language. Sorry if you know all this already, but really this course and this series of lessons is meant to be from absolute beginners upwards. So TCL is a scripting language, originally developed for Unix, but recently Cisco have added to Cisco routers. Not AS8 firewalls to my knowledge. The last time I looked, which is version 9.2, something like that, it certainly wasn't there. I don't know why it's not in the ASA firewalls. If anybody knows anything about Cisco development, I'd love to know if it's going to be coming along in the ASAs anytime soon. Outside Cisco, it's also used in the Big IP F5, but it's not in Juniper that I know of. Again, if anybody knows anything about Juniper's development plans, if they're going to incorporate TCL in a Juniper platform, that'd be handy. The series of lessons, who are they intended for? Who's the target audience? Really great. If you're interested, you want to watch and join in. Everybody is welcome, obviously, but really it's aimed at network engineers, network support engineers, network implementation engineers who want to know about TCL, how it can assist in troubleshooting and in deployments. You would typically be somebody who has been working with Cisco equipment already, and maybe has come across TCL, doesn't really understand how to use it, how to get started. I mean, TCL scripting, if you like me, you would have always considered that as being something that developers did, app support people did, or Unix support people did, not something for network engineers. Well, that's all changed now, really, that Cisco have incorporated this onto their platform. You might be struggling just to get started. I certainly did. So really, this course is kind of intended for you. It's intended to be hands-on. You will benefit most if you can get your hands on some equipment where you can actually try this stuff out and actually run these commands. It's not meant to be a Cisco IOS training course. If you're looking to get more familiar with Cisco's IOS and to learn routing and switching, this course isn't really going to be a great help for you. We will certainly be using Cisco commands, so you may learn a thing or two, but honestly, there's probably courses out there that are going to be better suited to your needs if that's what you're after. Likewise, if you are out to learn TCL to run with Unix or Linux, it will be of limited help for you, and in fact, if you have much experience of scripting already, you probably know more about this stuff than I do anyway. But like I say, all are welcome. What I hope to achieve with these courses, really just to increase your own understanding of TCL in Cisco, how to use it to your benefit, to fill in the gap between absolute beginner and website publications. What do I mean by that? What I found when I first started looking into TCL and trying to use it myself, there's loads of websites out there that talk about TCL, but they kind of seem to assume some level of knowledge already, if not within TCL itself, but in some other scripting language, because they'll often compare commands to commands in other languages. Now, great if you know those languages, but if you're like me, you come from a purely networking background and you don't know those languages already, it was kind of limited help. So likewise, there's books out there, but again, the books kind of assume a little bit of scripting knowledge already. What I want to do here really is get you up to the point where you can start looking this stuff up on websites and you understand what it is they're talking about. I want to also demonstrate how TCL can save time in troubleshooting and in new network deployments. It's very, very handy at doing repetitive tasks that we sometimes find ourselves doing. I want you to become confident in writing your own scripts, and I want us to build a community of engineers to share scripting ideas and solutions. So far I've found that people who are using TCL in iOS seem to be fairly niche. I want it to become a little bit more regular. I want to share my ideas with other people, and I want to learn ideas that other people have got themselves. Okay, moving forward, quick disclaimer. Basically, we are going to be running commands that will change configurations in devices. So really, while you're learning, particularly while you're learning, do this in a lab or virtual non-production environment. So the instructions in this video will change the configuration of the equipment they're carried out on. It is strongly recommended that you do this on lab or virtual non-production equipment. Make sure that you follow the change control procedure as specified by the organisation who own, operate or manage the equipment. In proceeding to watch this video or follow any of the actions shown, you are signalling your acceptance and understanding of this notice. So if you can, get your hands on some lab equipment or use one of the virtual platforms. I use EVNG myself, I used GNS3 in the past. This stuff does work on the virtual platforms. So let's not make any let's not cause any production outages while we're learning about this. Learn it, practice it, understand what it's going to do before you start using it in a live environment. That is my advice. Okay, let's get cracking. First off, you need to make sure that your platform, whatever it is you're using, does support Tcl itself. This is my home switch. It's a 3750. It's running version 12.2, which is pretty old, but it does support TCL. How do you show that your version does support TCL? Well, there's a couple of commands in iOS beginning with TCL. So if you do the question mark, you should see TCL quick, TCL shell. They are the only two actual iOS commands in TCL. To get into TCL shell itself, it is TCL sh. There you go. Note the change of the prompt. So you're not in conft, you're in the TCL shell. What I want to do first is, you may have come across some TCL scripts on the web already. Now, if you haven't, don't worry. We are going to start from absolute zero. But I found a script by accident when I was studying for the CCIE lab, that somebody had written. It's quite a few years old. It's very, very handy. And it was using TCL. It really kind of got me interested in what this thing can do. And it's a ping script. And basically it was designed because for people doing a lab exam to quickly ping all IP addresses in the lab. What you would do is before you do an exercise, you would ping everything, check you get response. Then you would do your exercise and run the ping script again, check you still got access and that you haven't broken your lab. And to speed things up, somebody had written a quick script. So you may have seen that, you may not have, but it's as good a place to start anyway. It uses the for each command, which is a TCL command. Very, very useful, especially when you do multiple things, repetitive things. So I think we're going to start with that. And this is how it goes. First off, you make a list of IP addresses that you want to ping. Now you can just enter those in manually, or you can have a look at some of the addresses that are live on your network. This is my home switch. I've got quite a few devices running, but let's just take these bottom IP addresses here, and I want to ping each of these in turn, and that's what the script is going to do. So I can capture those. Don't know if you know with your terminal emulator. I use TerraTerm. Very, very useful things. If you press the Alt key, you could select just from a column. I'm going to select these last four here. Right, so I've selected some IP addresses, going to copy them in. Right, TCL, how do you make a list? Well, you use it using the set key, the set command. Name the list, so I'm just going to call this IP. Now watch for the syntax. Open curly bracket, return. If I paste those in, right, now I've got a list that contains those IP addresses. I can demonstrate the list. I can demonstrate what's in that list by using the puts command. Puts. Notice now that I've got a list. I have to refer to it using the $sign. This is a variable. What they call in scripting is a variable. So my variable contains these IP addresses. Well, it should be anyway. If I do puts IP, there's the list. Right, that's the list I'm going to use to ping. And we do it for each is another TCL command. And literally, what the for each will do, it'll refer. We're going to refer it now to the list, and it will go through every item in the list and follow the instructions that are in the script. So what I'm going to do is create another variable called ads, short for addresses, and I'm going to say create this list from this list. So into this list put the contents. So into this list put the contents of this list, and then do something. Again, watch out for the syntax. Open curly bracket, and I'm going to say ping. Ping obviously is a command we all know very, very well. Ping addresses. So I'm saying put the contents of this list, which is these IP addresses, into here, and then ping them. There you go. Simple as that. Right, pretty straightforward, hopefully. So all we did is we said using the command for each, create a list called ads. Well, strictly speaking, in TCL terms, a variable, but to us it's just a list, right? Into this variable, put the contents of IP, which is these addresses, and then ping them. And the for each command literally goes whatever is in the body of the script, which is this. For each will just go, okay, do it for that, do it for that, do it for that, and then do it for that, and then stop. That's it. So what else can we do? Well, I mean, with this list, we can do pretty much anything that you would normally do with an IP address. Say, for example, we could do for each. Let's make a new list called ARP. Again, using the list that we created earlier called IP. Remember, the contents of this list is that. Again, look at the syntax. What if we do show IP ARP? What did we call it again? ARP. Okay, so contents of show IP ARP, the contents of ARP, which should be our which should be the contents of the IP list that we already made. There you go. One command, one little script, and it's done a show IP ARP for each of these IP addresses, and they are the MAC addresses associated with it. So I'm going to just finish there because this introductory was only meant to be a little taster. But if you can kind of start looking ahead now, you could say, well, why don't I do a show MAC address on that to give me the interface it's on? Now I've got a script that will not only do a ping, but will actually do an ARP lookup and tell me what interface an IP address is falling on. You know, these are the things that we find ourselves doing. And in the next lesson, that's pretty much what I want to do. I want to develop this little script into something that does a ARP lookup, does a MAC address lookup, gives you the interface that something is on for multiple addresses. I mean, you can run this for hundreds of IP addresses that you might find on your call device if you want. So that's just a little taster, a little demonstration of what this can do. Hopefully you found it useful and that you'll be interested in some future lessons. Thank you very much for your time.